Mikve Israel is the third oldest Jewish congregation in America, after New York Sheriff Israel in 1654, and Truro in Newport, founded 4 years later. And it's the second oldest religious institution in Georgia, second only to Christ Church Episcopal, the Church of England congregation of the original British colonists. The colony of Georgia was established in February 1733 under the leadership of James Edward Oglethorpe. Just 5 months later, in July of 1733, a group of 41 Jews arrived aboard the ship William and Sarah. In January of that year, 42 had departed London, but a child died during the voyage. Of the original group, 34 were Sapphonan, Spanish-Portuguese ancestry, and the other 8 were Ashkenazim, of German ancestry. This was the largest single immigration of Jews to colonial America. They were sent here by Bevis Marks, England's oldest Jewish congregation, for the specific purpose of establishing this congregation. And they began holding services almost immediately, initially in members' homes, later in rented quarters. They'd been here for almost a century when, in 1820, they built the first synagogue in the south, 6 or 7 blocks from here. Its dedication is notable for an organ having been played the first time in America that instrumental music was part of the Jewish service. To mark the occasion, letters were received from former Presidents Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. The first structure burned in 1829 in one of the many fires that plagued 18th and 19th century Savannah, and a replacement was constructed at the same location. It was opened in 1838. By the end of the American Civil War, the congregation had outgrown the second building. Hence this. You now stand in the sole remaining synagogue in North America with a nave, a transept, and an axe, cruciform shape, thereby leading to the myth that we bought the building from the bishop. We didn't. We did it all ourselves. This sanctuary looks as it does for 2 reasons. First, it's long and narrow because this land that we bought is a trust lot, which has a frontage of only 60 feet. Second, it resembles a cathedral because it was built in the mid-1870s at the height of the Victorian era, when Gothic architecture, more accurately Neo-Gothic or Gothic Revival architecture, was all the rage. For houses, churches, schools, stores, industrial plants, towers, bridges, monuments, even furniture, like those 4 Gothic chairs you see on the bema, which are original to the building. The choir loft is also original to the building. It is not now, never has been, and wasn't built as a women's gallery. This congregation has had mixed seating since 1868. And not only do we have a choir loft, it contains an organ. Those pipes you see aren't original. A fire destroyed the tower in 1927, and a new organ was installed. The columns are also original. They're not marble, they're cast iron, painted faux marble, which is a common Victorian decoration. They contain plaques bearing congregants' names and dates of death. The tradition is that the names are read from the pulpit and memorial prayer recited during the Sabbath services next following date of death. Take a look at the ark at the east end of the sanctuary. It's an incredible work of art, which represents a portion of the walls surrounding Old Jerusalem. Original to the building, it's handcrafted and initially was stained a dark wood color, but painted during the restoration following the fire. At the same time, the bronze and glass doors, the marble Ten Commandments plaque, and the Star of David were added. The lamp hanging directly before the ark is the eternal light on our time, burning constantly, a symbol of the eternal God. The ark contains Torah scrolls. Every Torah, regardless of size, shape, or age, is identical in content. The books of Moses, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Scriptures, Genesis through Deuteronomy. Each week, a portion of the Torah is read to the congregation. Within a year, the entire Torah has refreshed our hearts and has given fire to our memory of the covenant between God and the Jewish people. The 3 small stained glass windows above the ark are also original to the building. They were designed by Rabbi Isaac P. Mendez and crafted by William Gibson Sons in New York at an installed cost of $530. 5 magnificent windows were installed in 1899. The 2 on our left as we face the ark, the 2 opposite on our right, and the one way out at the far right, a match set with those spectacular cobalt blues and greens and reds and yellows. The 2 huge windows at either end of the transept were added shortly after World War I. The fine glass in and above the vestibule doors came in 1927, during the restoration following the fire in the spire. The most recent windows, the 4 in the 2 rear corners of the building, classic Art Nouveau installed in the early 1930s. Finally, the mystery window, way up at the far left next to the exit door. This is the only single or unmatched window in the building, and it's the one about which we know the least. Your tour guide will answer any questions you may have. Afterwards, go up to the 2nd floor to visit our museum, which contains our greatest treasures, 2 Torahs on deerskin, probably the oldest Torah scrolls in America. Since the first Jewish colonists arrived in the free new land and founded Mikve Israel, its members have asked only that they be permitted to continue to serve equally well one God and one humanity. Thanks for visiting our temple, Congregation Mikve Israel.